just joined us, you're watching Channels Television, celebrating 21 years of professional broadcasting. This is the news at 10, and here's a reminder of our major stories tonight. Residents of Oshogbo count their losses after torrential rains hammer the Osun state capital. National Space Research and Development Agency blames tremor in Jaba, local government area of Kaduna State, on passive sources. Resident doctors gear up for another industrial action, issue federal government 16-day ultimatum to address all challenges in the nation's health institutions. And African Union wades into Gabon's election crisis, pledges to send observers to investigate complaints lodged by opposition challenger. We'd like to quickly remind you that all our top stories are on our website, channelstv.com, and on youtube.com/channelsweb. And do log on to m.channelstv.com to view us live on your mobile device. You can also download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS and Windows phones from their respective stores. Besides the news and updates, the Channels TV app has an Eyewitness feature. We encourage you to use it to share those pictures, videos or news of happenings around you. Just install the app, then tap and swipe to reveal the Eyewitness menu and follow the instructions. We have some of those pictures now, and let's share them with you. And the first one is this one, showing the impact of flood. And where is it? Well, it will show the impact of flood along the Okigwe Road.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
We were trying to bring you those photos, and the first one showing the impact of floods along the Okigwe Road in Abia State. There it is. Our Eyewitness reporter calls on the state authorities to clear the waterways. Our next photo shows the poor condition of this road in Akute area of Ogun State. Our Eyewitness reporter calls on the local government to fix it. And here's one from Ado Local Council area in Benue State. It shows this vehicle stuck in the mud. This photo shows the impact of the indiscriminate dumping of waste along Nyanya Karishi Road, close to the Federal Capital Territory in Abuja. Our Eyewitness reporter advises residents in the area to stop such acts. Let's end with this photo showing an overloaded truck as it moves along the Industrial Estate Road in Ota area of Ogun State. Our Eyewitness reporter wants the relevant authorities to arrest drivers of such trucks.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Thanks a lot for all your pictures, and do send us some more. Now, workers across the country are back to work after the long weekend, including the 2-day public holiday to mark Eid al-Kabir. When Channels Television visited the Federal Secretariat in Abuja, quite a number of public servants were seen going into the complex. The nation's capital commercial centre, that is, Lagos, has also come alive as public servants and other workers earlier today hit the streets to transact their business.
It's the first day back at work after the 2-day holiday set aside to celebrate Eid al-Kabir. A good number of civil servants returning to the Federal Secretariat in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. The head of service of the Federation is impressed with the turnout of workers, saying it's evident they are already keen into the federal government's Change Begins With You project.
That change we are looking out for, that we want to see, we desire to see in Nigeria, surely must start with each and every one of us. I'm very happy with the sharp response of civil servants, and I believe that it will not just be in terms of being at work at the right time and in good time, but also it will move into their total attitude towards their work outputs.
Yes.
Workers at the state-owned Radio Benue in north-central Nigeria resumed duties and continued their agitation over unpaid salaries.
This is not the first time. Each time salaries are rationed in Benue State under this regime, there are people who want to paint the governor black. They will ensure that the media people, particularly Radio Benue, are left out. So it's our own way of telling him that what they are telling him in government house is a lie. They have been maltreating us here.
The state government is full of assurances that the monies were paid just before the holidays began.
When they complained, I talked to Accountant General. He confirmed to me that he has paid everybody across the board. I talked to Commissioner for Finance. He confirmed the same thing. So as it is, I believe that as before the close of business, all of them will collect their alert and the issue will be put to rest.
It's a different story in Calabar, Cross River State, South Nigeria, where the workers enjoyed the break with salaries paid in full.
We enjoyed the holidays. It was a time to rest and have more time for the family. For Cross River State, we don't have issues as far as salary payments are concerned.
In southwest Nigeria, activities increased at the Murtala Mohammed Airport in Lagos State, especially with the resumption of Arik Air flights after a 24-hour suspension of their services.
My daughter was supposed to be flying first flight this morning, 7 a.m. On our way, we got an email that it's been moved to 9. By the time we got here, we heard it's 11. By the time we got here, they say it was delayed for 30 more minutes, and we are still waiting.
Nigeria's financial markets also reopened after the holidays. At the Treasury bills market, the central bank rolled over 96 billion naira worth of Treasury bills. The bid rates from authorized dealers and investors came in at 14% for 91 days, 17.77% for 182 days, and 18.48% for 364-day Treasury papers. Also, the debt office offered a separate 120 billion naira worth of bonds, but the results are expected on Thursday. During times like this, it's difficult to have every worker resume right after the holidays. But from today's experience, it does appear that things are changing for better, given the high turnout of workers in most of the sectors across the country.
Indeed, it's back to work. Now let's cross over to Abuja. And here's Ibrahim Adra. Ibrahim.
Good to see you, Ijoma. Now, some civil society groups in the Federal Capital Territory are questioning the status of the Petroleum Industry Bill, which they say has been pending before the National Assembly for 12 years. The civil groups are also challenging the nation's oil swap status and the level of implementation of recommendations made by the Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative. Led by the Executive Director of the African Network for Environment and Economic Justice, Mr. David Ugolo, the groups are calling for more public involvement in matters arising.
As at present now, it's extremely difficult to tell Nigerians what is the status of the PIB before the National Assembly, and I think that should be a huge concern to every Nigerian. Secondly, is the fact that the 90 audit report, I'm sure you know it's 90, Nigeria Extractive Industry Transparency, has indicted so many corporations, government agencies and all that, and nothing serious has been done about that. The oil and gas sector has the bulk of the challenges, and specifically the procurement aspect of it. Procurement alone accounts for about 70% of corruption in the oil and gas sector.
In line with the economic realities, the Kwara State Governor Abdul Fattah Ahmed has announced that his government will reduce the cost of governance by 40%. Governor Ahmed, who spoke while receiving the Mayor of Ilorin, Alhaji Ibrahim Sulu Gambari, assures workers that he will not sack or reduce the workforce. He said internally generated revenue has increased from 500 million naira to 1.4 billion naira monthly. In addition, 1.7 billion naira will be used for the completion of ongoing projects.
I'm aware of the pains you are going through, and inshallah, I'm making everything necessary to end the hardship. We know the problems, inshallah, we'll be doing everything humanly possible to bring it to an end. My government has ruled out the issue of sacking any worker. Instead, we have reduced the cost of governance by 40% and plowed the savings into ensuring prompt payment of salaries. You are aware that we started building our revenue because we saw that we cannot continue to depend on the federation allocation. Our revenue has improved, and on this note, it means that we have more money to do capital projects. All our roads, our water, energy, schools, and hospitals that are currently undergoing construction.
The federal government has advised heads of African governments to reduce the discourse on housing deficit and focus more on creating housing opportunities. This was made known today by the head of the Public-Private Partnership Directorate at the Federal Ministry of Housing, Eukaria Alozie. She made this known while delivering a keynote address at the 32nd Annual Conference of the African Union for Housing Finance in Abuja.
Nigeria is set to have an estimated deficit record of 17 million housing units, and Africa's need for affordable housing is 400 million units, according to reports by the African Union for Housing Finance. It is for this reason that the union convened its annual conference in Nigeria. In a keynote address at the event, the head of Public-Private Partnership Directorate of the Federal Ministry of Power, Works and Housing advises heads of African governments to tackle the challenge headlong.
I wish to state here that much discussion has been held on the housing deficit. There's therefore need to change the story to begin to discuss the housing opportunities. Regardless of issues facing the sector, real estate projects are increasingly being launched and completed in Nigeria. It is on this note that I call on all stakeholders, especially members of the African Union for Housing Finance here present, to join hands with the federal government towards the realization of its objective in providing affordable housing to the people.
Although there is no one-size-fits-all solution to the continent's affordable housing crisis, a board member of the African Union for Housing Finance expresses concerns about the challenge of affordable housing.
The challenge is that about 96 million of urban households are described as being financially overstretched. Some 235 million urban households live in accommodation that is described as really substandard.
The director of other financial institutions of the Central Bank of Nigeria informs participants of the opportunities in the housing sector.
The housing market represents a huge potential for growth in Africa.
The 32nd Annual Conference of the African Union for Housing Finance, which attracts participants from across Africa, is aimed at finding solutions to Africa's housing problems and stimulating the continent's economy.
Still ahead on the news at 10, our community report tonight focuses on repair work on the problematic Calabar-Etu Federal Road. Travelers commend federal government's intervention. To join us again.